Order and roll call, please.
Yes, ma'am. Karen Fogg is attending by Zoom. Julie Lawson.
Present.
Present.
Thank you, Karen. Julie Lawson.
Present.
John Engelson is excused. Commissioner Dory.
Present.
Thank you. Joanne Olson has resigned. Sarah Ferry.
Present.
Thank you. And Hannah Inman is also excused. And we have a quorum. Don't we? Yes.
All righty, so Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so item 1, approval of minutes. Regular meeting minutes of November 15th, 2023. Approval of minutes. Does everyone approve?
I move that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Okay, so the minutes are approved. Okay, item 2, consideration of public comments. Those wishing to address the commission should fill out request forms in advance. Comments from the public will be restricted to items not on the agenda. There'll be no comments allowed that advertise for a particular person or group. Comments should be limited to no longer than 3 minutes. The commission may not respond to speakers during the call to public. The commission may direct the staff to study the matter or request that the matter be placed on a future agenda. Do we have any call to the public?
We have no one signed up today.
All right, thank you. And item 3 is new business. So we have the annual open meeting law training, city clerk annual open meeting law training, and parliamentary procedures.
Hi, good evening. I apologize in advance if my voice cuts out. That is just what we are working with today. My name is Annie Meredith. I'm your city clerk, and I have the pleasure of giving you your annual open meeting law and parliamentary procedure training. There is nothing new to the law to note, so I will go through it. If you have any questions, just feel free to stop me and ask. So open meeting law, basically it's the public policy that any meetings that happen with any type of governing body are done in the public, and the public has the opportunity to participate in the meeting. All of them should be made public so that anybody that wants to attend can attend. So basically, it's public's business, right? The things that you guys discuss, it's for the community, and they should be able to participate in that. It matters because it protects the public, it preserves the right to participate, it also protects you guys, it makes sure that our citizens are informed, and it builds trust between the governing bodies and the community. Who must comply? Each one of you. So you have to comply as an individual commissioner as well as a commission. Open meeting law violations can be sanctioned against you as an individual, and any cost incurred on that you would be responsible for. It includes any of our quasi-judicial bodies like our Board of Adjustments, Board of Appeals, any subcommittees. You guys don't generally see that as a commission, but those are included as well. What constitutes a meeting? It's any time 4 or more of you, or a quorum of your commission, is together and discussing commission business. So that is a meeting. The quorum is not reduced when you have vacancies. So right now, you guys, I just heard the recording secretary share, you guys have a vacancy that does not reduce your quorum requirement. So you need to make sure you keep that in mind. In 2024, there are all types of communication that can constitute a meeting. This list here is not inclusive of everything. It just gives some of the more familiar ones that you might be aware of. But if, somebody posts on, one of your commissioners posts on social media that you really want somebody to do something in this park, and then the other one gets on and says, I agree, and another one, as soon as you have 4 people, then you have an open meeting law violation. So that's just an example. We highly encourage that you do not do that. Do not comment on each other's stuff while you're serving in the capacity of a commissioner. Emails, you'll often see when emails come out to you as a commission, there will be a note on there says, please do not reply all. That's for that same purpose. Splintering a quorum, that is when, say, Sarah and Ann have lunch and they're talking about something they want to bring forth, and then Ann has dinner with Julie and they talk about that same thing, and then Julie has breakfast with Karen and they talk about that same thing. Now you've splintered your quorum, so it's kind of like circumventing the meeting, so you want to make sure you don't do that. It's always just best practice. If you think that there's something that would be of interest to the commission to discuss as a group, just have it put on the agenda. Informing the public, state statute does require that all meetings have a minimum of 24-hour advance notice to the public. Your agenda has to include the date, time, and location you will be meeting at, and then any specific matters that you are going to discuss. So if you're going to have a report or if you're going to approve your minutes, all of those have to be listed individually. And then you don't see it as much on commission agendas, but like on our council agendas, we have to put a summary on there so that the public has a general understanding of what is going to be discussed. If you put approval of meeting minutes, that's pretty obvious. But a more complicated item would require a summary so that the public would have a basic understanding. Only items listed on your agenda can be discussed. I know sometimes we'll have reports or things and it might trigger a question that you meant to jot down to ask somebody about, and you're like, oh, well, we're talking about that. Can I ask you about this? If it is not specifically related directly to something on the agenda, then you'll want to make sure you bring that back for discussion at the next meeting. Any action that a board or commission takes on an item that is not on the agenda is null and void. So it's going to have to come back anyways. Call to the public. Call to the public is allowed, but it is not required. We do at the City of Kingman provide that opportunity to our citizens in all of our board, commission, and council meetings. We're allowed. And then you can set a reasonable time limit. We do a 3-minute per speaker. When somebody does address you during call to the public, you have a couple of options. You can thank them for their time. You can sit there, smile. You can ask staff to look into it further, maybe do some more research for you. Maybe it's something you guys want to bring back to a future agenda, those kinds of things. But you can't have dialogue. Sometimes people are really passionate and they want to be able to have a conversation about it with you now because they came here. But unfortunately, that's not allowed for in this agenda item. But you can always have staff follow up with them or bring it back. The public has the right to attend, listen to, tape record, or videotape a meeting. They don't have the right to speak except for that designated call to the public time, and they don't have the right to be disruptive. I briefly mentioned this. If anybody knowingly violates the open meeting law, that is a violation against you as an individual and anybody that might have been a participant in that. Conflict of interest. We see this sometimes with our commissions. If you have an item that's coming before you for approval or some type of action, and it is going to benefit you directly as an individual outside of your representation on the commission, then you just need to declare that in advance. You can do so with your recording secretary, and she'll have you fill out a form. And then you'll just abstain from any of the deliberation or the voting on that item. And you get your agenda ahead of time, so you'll be able to see what those are in advance. That one, remote interest, if it's your cousin's, brother's, uncle's neighbor that you know, then that's a remote interest. You're not going to be benefiting in any way from that decision that might be made. This is the statute that talks about open meeting law and conflict of interest. That is all for that portion. Does anybody have any questions before I flip over to the next exciting topic? All right. All right, so next we are going to talk about parliamentary procedure. Parliamentary procedure covers the order or how a meeting is ran. We do not follow a strict Robert's Rules of Order for the city of Kingman. We have the ability to adopt and modify that for our purposes, which is what we have done. You will see that it's very similar, but there are some super formal things in here that we don't necessarily do, but we like to include it just so that you're aware. So again, like I said, it is a set of rules for conduct at the meeting, and make sure that everybody has the opportunity to be heard and have a active part in the process without confusion. You know, we don't want to make sure you're not speaking over each other or things like that. And it's a time-tested method of conducting business at meetings and public gatherings. And again, it can be adapted to fit the needs of any organization. This is a typical meeting order. This is how our meeting orders look here for the city of Kingman. I'm not going to go through that. You guys are pretty familiar with the order of your meeting. A motion. So the motion is how the membership takes action on an item. You can have different kinds of motions that are listed here. We use what's called the main motion, and it's a way for somebody to introduce the item for consideration. How the motion works is somebody will make a motion. There will be a second to the motion, or sometimes there isn't a second and the motion doesn't move forward. You have a debate, or I like to call it a discussion. Is there any other discussion or comments about this item before we take a formal vote? And then you vote on the motion. The individual wanting to make a motion should wait until the last speaker is finished. They should obtain the floor properly by saying, Madam Chair or Mayor, whatever the situation is, and be recognized. You want to make sure that motions are clear and concise. That is a big help for your recording secretary to make sure that the action is captured appropriately and that it's not misunderstood. You want to make sure that you say, I move to approve the meeting minutes of whatever meeting it was, or I move to approve entering into an agreement, or to do a master plan, or whatever the item is. You want to make sure that you have that full explanation. That way there's no guess or assumption as to what your intent was with your motion. And then you'll wait for somebody to second your motion. Either somebody will automatically say, I second that, or sometimes the chair will call, say we have a motion for da-da-da-da, is there a second? And then somebody will make a second. If there is no second, like I mentioned before, then that motion just dies. At that point, somebody else can make a motion. Maybe there was another member of the commission that had a different motion they wanted to make, and they would have the opportunity to do so at that time. And then the chairperson will state the motion. You know, we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes and a second. Is there any further discussion? And then you are going to take a vote. There is an opportunity to expand your motion if during that discussion, somebody says, well, can we, you know, just tweak it a little bit to include this or to remove that? And then the person that made that original motion does have the option to edit their motion if they wanted to. And then the chairperson will call for a vote. You can vote by voice. All in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Or you can do a roll call. Sometimes when we have a little bit more controversial items, we want a roll call vote so we get that clear note of who voted which way instead of that yays and nays mixing. Or you can raise your hand. We don't generally see that in our meetings. There are other motions that are commonly used. We just used the number one at our council meeting last night. You can motion to table. There might be a time when you need more information on something, you want some more data, or you want just something more before you actually, everybody is ready to make their decision. So you can make a motion to table and then it can be brought back at a future meeting. Or you can motion to postpone it indefinitely, which is pretty much just meaning it's probably not ever going to come back. Parliamentary procedures, best way to get things done. Works if you use it properly. Allow motions that are in order. Make sure you obtain the floor properly. So it's very clear on who's making the motion, who's seconding, what the motion is. And then most importantly, just be courteous in the process. And that is all I have. Are there any questions from the commission on any of those things I spoke to? Perfect.
Annie, I have a question.
Okay.
We're going to be in new business, having a chair and vice chair. If, say, someone wanted me to continue being chairperson, I cannot vote in that, correct?
You can.
I can.
You can. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, everybody
right.
gets to have a vote. You're not benefiting monetarily from holding that position. So you're fine. Yep, you can, everybody can participate in that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. All right, you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
I do have one question that
Okay.
I just came up. For new people like myself on the commission, sometimes I'm a little bit confused about, what to do in the process. Is it okay to ask for direction, like in the middle of the meeting, on how to do any of this?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
All
Yes.
right, thank you.
Yeah, if you're stuck,
Yeah.
and sometimes if I'm in the room and I notice it, or if Mike's very familiar with how meetings run, Sherry's very familiar with how meetings run, they can step in and say, call for a motion, or don't forget to allow for discussion, or whatever it is. They can kind of help with coaching, with that as well. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
For sure.
I
You are
appreciate
not
that.
in a no questions during the meeting position. You
Okay.
can always ask for some help.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Annie.
All righty, so moving on, new business item B, 2024 election of chair and vice chair. Discussion and possible action on annual nomination of chairman and vice chairman.
Can I make a motion that Karen Fogg remain our chairperson?
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, it doesn't look like it. So all in favor? Aye.
I-
Any opposed? All right, it looks like the motion and the second is passed. So Karen Furr is going to remain our chair, and so now on to the vice chair.
I
I'd
move
like to make a
that-
motion that Sarah Ferry
You-
be the vice chair.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? All right, so we have a motion and a second. That makes me, Sarah Ferry, the vice chair. All right, so on to item 4, reports. We have the golf course superintendent report, report pertaining to the golf course.
Good evening, you three, and you attending out there. I got just a few items to cover here from past quarter. Obviously, the winter's a little bit slower for us on the course, so not as much going on as spring and summer. Not a whole lot cultural, other than I wanted to mention that we are still pursuing spraying out the brass button weed that's on the greens. It's a consistent ongoing problem, so we're spot spraying, we're putting applications out once every 2 weeks, trying to keep up with that. Obviously, once our bent grass starts moving a little bit more, it'll be a little bit easier. We can put a few more apps out and get it better under control. For us, irrigation highlights, one thing that I always like to mention is people tend to forget that Kingman gets its annual rainfall this time of year, more so than any monsoons that we see generally. So for the last quarter, 4.5 inches of rain and 3 inches of snow. And obviously for the golf course, I'll take the snow all day long because that's nice. It sits, it soaks in. It's just wonderful for the grass. Just be nice if we could figure out a way to make it snow in July. Also worth noting, since we met in November, we've on the golf course only putting out 7 irrigation cycles total at night. So between the rain and the snow and just general overall grass dormancy, we just don't have the need to irrigate. So that's water conservation is always huge for us, and that helps a lot. So. And then I'd like to mention too, something that I've kind of been carrying meeting to meeting is we're having some issues with our current irrigation satellites, our RDRs. They're outdated. They're not making parts for them anymore. At the last meeting, I mentioned that the state contract wasn't going to renew for the contractor. It turns out they were able to get it renewed, but we're kind of falling behind the bar here. So I've asked to pursue it via capital this coming budget season instead so that we can get them all replaced at once. And obviously, I don't know if that'll be approved until it goes to council and they do their thing. So hopefully, fingers crossed, be nice just to get them all done at once. A few projects we're working on. Bunker renovations this time of year is huge for us. We don't have time to do it in the summer when we're mowing grass. So to date, we've gotten 3 full renovations, including drainage, new sloping, adding some sod and sand. We've touched up 7 with some sod work, some just light sod work on some of the slopes. And another 10, we've put sand into the bottoms with more planned in the next few weeks. But we are, I can tell you, especially with this last snow, starting to green up. So projects are going to start fading away for us. And then worth mentioning, I know Mike's got some of this in his presentation at the end, so I won't focus on it a lot, but we got an upcoming project on the driving range. That was approved in capital for over the next 4 years to replace the poles and the netting that needs to be done. So that's huge for us because that range was built in a time when technology, you couldn't hit the ball very far. Now you can. People like Ty and Sam can drive it over the net if they want to. So it'll be nice to get that rear end extended up higher. It also helps cover part of the north trail too. So we don't have to worry about trail goers getting hit. And then we've been working quite a bit on the City of Kingman entered an agreement with ADOSH and some of the compliance issues around the maintenance facility that have been notified, by our own risk management team. So we've been correcting those during frosty mornings when we can't get out on the golf course. So it was nice that happened this time of year too. And then lastly, the golf course did receive a new piece of equipment this quarter. It's actually a piece of equipment I knew nothing about until about a quarter ago when I tried to order the piece that I wanted, and they told me it was going to be 22 months before I could get it. So I actually did a little research with Mike. Of course, you all know he's got a couple of sons that are superintendents. Both of them happen to have this piece of equipment that we purchased. Thus far, it's been great. It comes with a mowing attachment, so it does exactly what we wanted it to do. The nice part about it is you can get 20, 25 different attachments for this thing. You can get trenchers and blowers and stump grinders, and so it turned out to be a really beneficial purchase, and it was actually cheaper than the mower that I wanted to buy. So that worked out well too. We like to save money on our budget. And other than that, you know, like I try to mention every quarter, I just like to thank the maintenance crew for keeping up with everything. We are short inmate labor still, so those guys are out there working their butts off, keeping things clean and keeping the place look nice. So other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Patrick, I'd just like to say thank you for all the work that that crew is doing, and have fun with that new piece of equipment.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you,
All right.
Patrick.
Now we are on to the Recreation Superintendent Report. Report pertaining to the Recreation Division.
Good evening. So we are now into our winter spring season. It's one of the longest seasons because we combine the two together. This season, our programs usually begin in January and they'll go through to the end of May. And then our summer brochure, which comes out of May, covers the summer months, which is June, July, part of August. And then our fall brochure, which is September, October, November, December. So with the winter spring, we kind of have to put a lot more in there. Just to let you give you some background, our dance classes started on January 16th this year for this season, and we attempted 2 new dance classes. We added belly dancing and a palm dance, but both unfortunately did not reach the minimum due to lack of interest. We did hire 2 new dance instructors also, or attempted to hire 2. One actually had to leave on a family emergency. It was unable to take the job, but Emma Downing is one of our newest instructors, and she's helping take over some of the Tiny Talk classes that we have. But this season, we have 122 dance students enrolled in our dance classes. Their end-of-the-year recital will be held on April 27th at Kingman High School. And if you guys are available, I encourage you to attend. It is a nice event each season. Our cooking classes are back up and running. We are doing this time, we're doing them twice. They meet twice a month. They're meeting in the month of February and the month of April. And so far for this month of February, the classes were pretty much almost full. What I mean, there's like only one opening left in there. And the April class still has room to grow, so people are still registering for that one. But the kids have been raving about it. The parents have actually contacted us and said, how long do you plan to do this for? They want us to be able to continue it, so hopefully we will. And our winter sports, they began back in January also. Our youth basketball program this year has a total of 414 registered participants in 4 divisions. And last year we had 397. So it just shows some growth over from last year to this year. All but one of the divisions was able to remain gender neutral. What I mean by that is we have boys separated from girls. The oldest division was the only one that had to be combined due to the lack of registrations in either boys or girls. The adult basketball program began also January 18th, and teams we're continuing running with the league. We had some delays. The school had some unexpected things that they had to end up canceling on, and one of them was a snow day. And then the band had to host something at the high school, so we had to cancel games for a couple days, which we're going to be making those up at the end of the season. Adult volleyball and dodgeball were both postponed or canceled as of right now. We don't have enough teams registered for that either. And as far as our youth pickleball and adult tennis lessons, those are booming. We've actually had them sold out for this first session, so we're hopefully, staying positive that they'll return. They have expressed interest in coming back for the following session, so those will run through all through summer and continue until it gets too cold to play, which this last month, there was some of that too. As part of our office, the recreation staff are the ones who kind of work in the office, so we have to deal with a lot of the reservations and so forth, which means we work closely with the school districts. Kingman Academy, we host their baseball and softball teams. Lee Williams, we host their tennis. There's amongst other sports, like I know the golf teams use the golf course. There's a lot of inputting that goes along with those into our reservation system. Jerry's team having to maintain the facilities, but it is part of the sports recreation end of our facilities is what I like to refer to it to. Special events. December was a very busy month for us. We participated in the annual Parade of Lights display on December 2nd. Santa, and Mrs. Claus, aka Karen Fogg, ended up arriving through a river medical truck. They were supposed to arrive via helicopter. There were some issues with the helicopter. Thankfully, they found out last minute, so nobody had to go up in it. But they ended up showing up in the downtown area, and we actually served 623 visitors through Santa's Castle, along with 230 cups of cocoa that we handed out that evening. That evening also gave us a chance to promote some of our programs. We had a slideshow running on the side of our AAV van, so that helped too. Santa and Mrs. Claus were busy with the breakfast over at Golden Corral. Mrs. Claus, again, aka Karen Fogg, offers a holiday workshop. She volunteers her time and does that for us, and we're really, really grateful for that. Spots were sold out. We offered 2 separate sessions, 2 different days, or 2 different time frames. So that was another added bonus to have this year versus doing the one that we have always done in the past. We processed 115 phone calls from the North Pole with 6 volunteers who had placed those calls as well. We also addressed 58 letters that were personally addressed to residents or children throughout the area in our Letters to Santa program. Our 23rd annual Polar Plunge took place on New Year's Day at noon. It was one of the largest that we've had. They keep growing each year, so that's good to know. We had 159 people in attendance and 77 brave swimmers. The water was 46 degrees, so if they're willing to do it, more power to them. We place diving rings at the bottom. We toss them out into the pool, and they get to dive to the bottom, retrieve a ring. If they bring the ring back, they get to turn it in for a prize. We also have cocoa and popcorn available for them afterward and warm showers. Kingman Fire Department's always on hand in case of an emergency, which we've been fortunate that we've never had to have any major emergency take place. And this February, we had our Cupid Family Night Bingo on February 9th. We were able to accommodate 17 families. Sandy and I made the homemade meal, and everybody was extremely complimentary of the event, so kudos to Sandy for all the hard work she's put in preparing for these events as well. She has out right now coloring sheets that are going to be out to schools this week. Flyers are all out to the elementary schools on all of our upcoming special events, which include our new scavenger egg hunt. The scavenger egg hunt is going to have clues posted on Facebook and riddles, and it'll take you to any of the local parks, our trail system, and if you find the golden egg, it tells you what to do with it when you get it back, and they can turn them in for prizes to our office. And then there is also the Breakfast with the Bunny coming up for Easter, and we also have a Easter Bunny and Paws photo hop. It's something that we're going to do at the Centennial Dog Park. So parents I guess you can say parents, fur baby parents, can bring their dogs to the dog park, and then we're putting doggy treats out and giving them the opportunity to take a picture with their dog and with the Easter Bunny. Not sure how that's going to work, if they're going to be terrified of the bunny or not, but we'll see. The drive-in movie that's set for March 15th is also in the works. Again, Sandy's been working really hard on putting all these events together, so I give kudos to her. She's one of our recreation coordinators. And then in the aquatics area, we are already preparing for summer. I know it's like snowing and hailing today and feeling cold, but we have to start now. Our lifeguard and water safety classes have began registrations, which in order to be a lifeguard or a water safety instructor, which is teaching swim lessons, you have to be certified. We offer classes to get those certifications. Doesn't necessarily guarantee them a job, but they do have the opportunity to apply once the certification is completed. The pools are set to open on Monday, May 27th. Other than that, we've been meeting with HR to set our summer timeline. We have interviews already in place as far as when they're going to be, hiring process, orientation dates, all of that has already been set for summer. And that's pretty much everything I have. Any questions?
I have
Okay.
one.
Yes, Karen?
Actually, with the adult dance, do you possibly think the interest isn't quite there because of the price of the class?
We offered it last season and the participants were still there. I don't know if it's the price. I know that we try to expand onto the adult dance to offer something else. The belly dancing was more designed for teens to adults and the pom was for kids, but the adult dance, that one too, we went from a Western two-step. She wanted to change it to a swing and cha-cha, and I don't know if it was because we changed the style, if that had anything to do with it. No one has ever expressed that it was to the price, but they may not be sharing that information either.
Okay, I just wondered. And
Yeah.
also, when I read the 623 kids coming in Santa's Castle, that averaged out to be about 155 kids each hour. And that was a lot of kids I lifted in and out of Santa's sleigh.
It was, and thank you again, Karen. I really can't, I can't express our interest or our appreciation much more than for you and Bill both for doing that for us.
Oh, my pleasure. I love doing it. Thank you, Yvonne.
You're welcome, Karen. Anything else?
Can I follow up on her question?
Uh-huh.
I just wondered, I know that working with people in the community when they have new classes, it takes a little while for things to catch on. Do you typically try again with
Yes.
classes that aren't? Okay.
Yes. So that's one of the goals that we set when we start a new program. We don't try not to dump it right away. We obviously have to dump it for this season because if you try to keep pushing and keep pushing it, it's either going to do one of two things. You start it to be too late and then they won't be prepared for the end. They'll run out of time, or you try to carry it over to the next season. So we're not giving up on all of the new classes yet, just for this season right now, and then we'll try to move forward again. One of the examples is the youth tennis and the youth pickleball. Those, for some reason, only took place like in the summer, but now have been successful in the fall, have been successful in the spring, and we've also kind of changed them up a little bit and turned our youth tennis into what they call spec tennis. So it's being done on the pickleball courts, on a smaller courts, different types, and introducing pickleball with it too. Anything else? All right,
Thank you, Yvonne.
thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So we're going to move on to the Parks Superintendent report, reports pertaining to the Parks Maintenance Division.
Yep. All right, so the Park Superintendent report. So slide one, we've been working on the White Cliffs Trail System, the South Trailhead. Desert Construction has finished the subgrade and asphalt. They've already done the parking lot and the driveway up to there. We built retaining walls utilizing slabs removed from the downtown streetscape project. So the chunked up sidewalks, we actually made a wall out of it up there. We poured and installed our trailhead entry gate. We completed all the dirt work behind the retaining wall. We installed trailhead signs and gabion baskets. We even installed a hose bib up there. And there'll be more on that too with Mike's report. All right, so Park Superintendent Jerry Sipe, who I've known my whole life, and Matthew Golder went on the tour of the city of Lake Havasu's Park Department, who actually, the superintendent before me, is the superintendent now down at Lake Havasu. So we got to go down there and kind of take a tour of their facilities. We had 4 team members complete the defensive driving course. We evaluated a large tree at the complex for holiday lighting, and it was too big for our equipment to decorate this last year. So we actually fabricated a metal tree and had it put out there for the holidays. We had 2 trees on the corner of Eastern and Wallapai that were removed for line of sight issues. Streets helped us out with setting up traffic control to ensure safety. We replaced bulbs in the Centennial office parking lot, and we're still waiting on ordered bulbs to complete other parking areas within the park. We had safety service added to Mojave Neighborhood Park. We completed PEP and pre-ADOSH inspections, part 2 at Southside and Grandview Pool. And We got a new door leading out of the irrigation office installed, allowing for a second exit for our irrigation office. And Restoration 1 came and removed old drywall and bird nests from one of our old buildings at Southside Park. So slide 3, the Parade of Lights, this is the event that we built that fabricated tree for. We set up their Santa trailer, the council wagon. We set up all the audio and assisted with the tree lighting. And myself actually helped co-host the announcements. Cats to Buy, that's on the next slide. For the adopted park, Cats to Sabi adopted the Dad Jumps and Happy Place at the White Cliffs Trail System. Here we go, got miscellaneous repairs and improvements. We got a new tube installed at Centennial Dog Park, and it's actually a recycled playground tube. We put them in dog parks, and they can use them for like training tubes. We had a tree planted at Locomotive Park along Route 66 with the assistance of a world traveler. He's from Malaysia, and he plants trees everywhere he goes, so it's pretty cool. He's on all over YouTube and stuff. We met with CRATA and ACE representative to go over new White Cliffs trail system ideas. We received a total of 48 MVVs for this quarter. Our tennis court nets at Centennial have been replaced. Another event that we do, we've actually had a lot of events this last quarter, but one of them was we brought all tables and chairs to Airport Public Works holiday lunch, and we set up all the audio for the pancake breakfast for the city manager and broke down and returned all those from both those events. Parks has participated in meetings with J2 Engineering discussing Sunbelt Park and Sunbelt's drainage channel and the Omaha Drive walk path. The playground for Kingman Park passed at the January 2nd council meeting. We are working internally with place-based design to get momentum on that project. And for one of the big things we had to face this last quarter was weed abatement. So we actually helped out with streets, areas that Parks takes care of. And we actually chemical treated a total of 1,480,000 square feet. 1,480,000. One of our crawl tubes at our Centennial Park playground has been replaced. And then we've done a lot of field maintenance on Southside Field 3 through 6 at Southside. All of Centennial has been treated with selective herbicide, and we had 63 irrigation issues fixed. So new equipment, we actually got our new Bobcat skid steer, and we got a stump grinder attachment for it. I was actually able to go out and do a total of 18 stumps, and it got it done pretty much within a couple minutes, about 5 to 10 minutes a stump. And then we have a total of 252 MROs that were completed this last quarter. And our estimated damages for the total for the fiscal year is $19,970. And here's various vandalism. We had all our signs near the Campbell Loop trailhead was shot with paintballs. At Cecil, we had several incidents of soap dispensers broken. Centennial Park had multiple graffiti, glass bottles broken on the pool deck, trash cans stolen at various locations throughout the park, and light switch knobs removed and stolen. At Firefighters, we had multiple instances of graffiti, stall doors being broke off hinges, and once again, soap dispensers. Same at Metcalf Park with soap dispensers, also with graffiti. Mojave Walk Pass had graffiti. Same thing with Southside Park, also had graffiti. And we even had it on a building and a roof. And we had our dugout gates being forced and broke open. Well, Grants Park had, once again, soap dispensers, more graffiti. We had a hand dryer that was broken off the wall, and we had a swing that was cut in half. And then also at the White Cliffs Trail System, we had a lot of graffiti that was put all over the trail, just past the trailhead, which happens quite often up there. But that should be the last of my report. If anyone has any questions.
I have a question. Can you say more about your tour of Lake Havasu City Parks Department and what the purpose of that was? And
Yeah, we just kind of wanted to see how their structure was, like how they're set up like internally. The way they're set up as far as they don't really have groundskeepers, stuff like that. They have more crew leaders and then kind of technicians that they're labeled underneath. So that's kind of one of the things we were curious about, because kind of in our things, we do more than just grounds maintenance. We do, you know, obviously a lot of repairs and other things. I just kind of want to see what kind of equipment they use and things along that line. A lot of stuff is very similar. A lot of practices were the same, but it was kind of neat to see how another community takes care of the same stuff we do. But they have the same stuff with like vandalism and all that too.
And do you ever tour any other city parks departments? Or?
So when we did go and visit when we were in Phoenix training, we did kind of go there and just look around some of their parks. We met with somebody there, but they weren't really expecting us and didn't have a lot of time. But we did view their parks, and I'm not trying to say anything bad, but for our community, our parks really are pretty awesome compared to like larger communities. So.
They are. One other question, is anything being done proactively on the graffiti? I mean, are the police aware, or is the city doing anything about?
So it's not just our department that also gets it. Streets
Right.
gets a lot of them too.
Yeah.
I know a lot of them that are turned in through other ways of the city. They actually have a guy that goes around and does them, like as soon as the police report's filed. But as far as that, it's kind of just, not that I know of, really goes past a police report.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of it, where they paint over it and try to keep it that way, but that's more reactive than proactive. And so it just seems
know-
like it's getting worse,
No, it is. I know that they put a special laminate on like the street signs and that's supposed to make it real easy to clean up. But as far as I don't know really much you could do to,
Yeah.
there's so much canvas out there. Like.
Right. Okay, well, thank you.
Yes, if I could, one of the things that we do notice though at the White Cliffs Wagon Wheels Trailhead, with the amount of traffic it's getting, we're getting a little less vandalism, which is encouraging. And I think that's, the more traffic you can get in certain areas, obviously is beneficial. And I think we're going to continue to get more and more traffic there. So while we get it still, but it's not as rampant as it was, so.
No, actually, a lot of our trails are really taking off. Just even the one, just the time I was up there working, we've had a bunch of cars come up and ask us for it, and it's not even really advertised yet where it's at. But a lot of people are interested in it.
Does anybody else have anything? Okay, I also wanted to follow up on your question. Has there been any more talk about the security cameras? I know that that won't do anything with the restrooms and that type of thing, but I wonder if just having more signage and, just expressing to the public that there is more monitoring of the parks and these different areas.
As far as us internally as parks, no, because it's another department, another division in the city that's putting that on. So that's kind of more on them to get it up and running.
Yeah. And then this is another question. When I was on the parks on the Clean City, we had an officer come that did the code enforcement stuff and came and talked to us about just the program and what they do. Would it be possible to have someone do a little presentation for us as far as like on that end, how these things are taken care of, or if there's any consequences once they get the report, that type of thing, just for our education?
Yeah, that'd be more of a police department question, not really so much ours, but.
We can look at that and get somebody, I think it'd be a good idea to get a presentation on that.
Okay, I think that would be really helpful just to be able to even share with the community what anyone in the community should be doing if they see anything like this. Okay, thank you.
And we've noticed too, it seems like it's all late night, maybe possibly super early morning things happen, so.
I think our parks are just absolutely beautiful, so you guys are doing such a wonderful job.
Thank you,
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Like I said, some of the other communities we went to, like, seeing our parks compared to a bigger community, like, we actually are very, very lucky to have what we have, so.
Yeah, and just the amount that you guys do as far as like picking up the weed abatement in different areas. I mean, it just really amazes me how much our
I can
parks
say, like,
department does.
one softball field I visited in a big community had nowhere near the prep work that we put into ours, so. All right, thank you.
All right, then let's go on to the Golf Pro report.
So Sam is out on vacation, so our assistant golf professional, Ty Sherwood's going to give the report. So Ty's been with us maybe, I don't know how, reasonably new, but doing a really good job for us. So we're excited to have him, so.
Thanks, Mike. All right. Well, obviously, my name's Ty Sherwood. I'm the assistant golf pro filling in for Sam tonight. So I'm going to highlight a few things, events, and even our non-events golf things that happen at our golf course. So during our winter time, we are actually a little slower on our non-golf events, like our weddings and that kind of stuff. So this last quarter, we had only the one non-event, That was the lighting of the Black Friday, Light Up Black Friday, where they lit up the tree, and we had a really good turnout for that. Everybody was very thankative. I don't know how else to put that word out there. So for golf events, we hosted the Firemen's 28th annual Arctic golf tournament. That's what they call it. It's all firemen's that play in it. There was a total of 31 players. So another event that we've been reaching out to is all our golf tournament. Our directors of our golf tournaments that do put on golf tournaments at our golf course. Me and Sam have put out emails, and returning tournaments from last year, we've had all but one tournament that is actually committed to a date for this year's upcoming tournament schedule. That tournament schedule, the one it hasn't is Nucor, and that's one of our biggest ones. So I've been in a lot of contact with that tournament director, and we're trying to set an actual date that would work for them as well today. Couple new tournaments that we will be having this year that weren't on last year's. We have a couple fundraiser tournaments. One for Gino Suggs. Gino Suggs played a lot of golf at our golf course, and unfortunately he had passed away. So there is going to be a annual fundraiser tournament that people are going to be putting on for him. And then also the Kingman Academy of Learning is going to be putting on a fundraiser golf tournament this year. Another thing we were talking about is meetings. Me and Sam have been in contact with our rep from G1, which is our golf. They do all our tee times and all that stuff. Our head rep for him is Mike Magnera. We're in the process right now of improving and making it easier to operate the Surbat Cliffs golf course. I'm drawing a blank on that word.
Webpage.
Their webpage. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
And then we are also in the process of converting all our inventory to actually onto the G1 system. So once all that happens, there'll be a lot less paperwork and transferring numbers. We'll be able to plug them straight into the system and be able to see what we're missing if something is unfortunately missing. Another big meeting that we are having is with our 66 holes disc golf tournament. So this disc golf tournament was put together and it was ran for a while. It ended up not being a tournament. It was ran out in Valley Vista. I've played in it a few times. Then due to COVID, it wasn't ran anymore. So it was actually a part of me and Bailey, which Bailey works with the maintenance crew. We kind of got together and made it to where we were going to be able to have it at our own golf course. That's going to be ran April 27th of this year. That is a Saturday. That is the same week that we are actually aerating the greens. So that is one of our ways to try to improve and increase our play and numbers during those weeks when our aeration and our greens are down. So one of the other big things is our junior golf program. One of our biggest things that we're trying to improve with our junior golf program is the safety. Unfortunately, we got over 100 kids in our junior golf program, and there's me and Sam and a couple people that we get, Bailey and Zach from maintenance. But unfortunately, 4 of us, there's a lot of kids for 4 people. So we're trying to work on right now ways to improve the safety part of that, make sure kids don't get hurt kind of thing. And then also how we're going to run our junior golf tournaments where we don't end up having to close 9 holes of our golf course that morning and be able to keep our numbers of the public being able to play. So we have right now 3 groups. 3 of our main groups we have the Kingman Men's Club Golf Association. Their numbers are always steady. They play every Tuesday. Then we just started a ladies club. They just actually started running it back up. week to week, their numbers are improving. We're making everything we can to try to put them on Facebook and try to get more ladies out to play golf. And theirs is on Wednesdays. And then we also have our Elks Club. They play Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And they always have really good turnouts. One other thing is I would like to thank Pat and all his maintenance crew for everything they do, especially during the wintertime, on preventing that golf course. And well, not preventing, they improve and do everything that for that golf course. They do a lot, and a lot of people don't see that side very, very often. And I just want to say thank you. And if it wasn't for them, me and Sam would not have a job. So, but if there's any other questions, I know I didn't really look at her very much. I forget she was up there. But is there any other questions that I could help answer for you guys?
Just a small question. On the first line here, it said Teresa Hood got an MVV award. What does MVV mean?
That is our the most valuable team player. Teresa actually, out of one of her days off, we had a couple people call off, and she was able to come in when she wasn't scheduled to work, and we actually put her in for the most valuable team player kind of award.
Some of these acronyms, maybe in in the future reports, just maybe write out what they mean.
Absolutely,
Just some of us who aren't familiar with them.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No problem.
Now we have the Director's Projects Reports, report on capital and ongoing projects.
Well, let's see here. Should be here, I guess. What's this? That could be it, couldn't it? Whoops, let's see here. Okay, all right. So this is basically going to be about all the projects we got going on, which we got a lot going on, a lot of exciting stuff. So I'm really happy to talk about a lot of it, and a lot of these have touched on, a lot of our team here has touched on some of it, but we do have a lot going on. So first of all, Lewis Kingman Park Restroom Project, really excited about that. The job order contract was approved by council last night, which is awesome. We're going to be able to get started on that. And we're going to try to get that done. We have to, once we get the PO, then we can set the schedule, but we're going to try to get it done between, we have some pretty big events in April and May, and then the Route 66 Festival, I think, is in October. So we're going to try to get it done in between that period of time. So we'll get the early stuff going, and then, but we're really excited about that. It's going to be a new restroom. The restroom there, I mean, a lot of you know, maybe you don't know, but that restroom was the original restroom from when that was a rest area. So it's really old, and it's really going to be exciting to get that done. And the two ramadas out front are going to be replaced, and we're going to do some work and rebuild the third ramada as well in-house. We're going to do that ourselves. We're excited about that project too. So, and then we're going to be getting a new playground installed there, which is another exciting thing which this commission voted on, and we appreciate your input for that. And I've got pictures of all these things I'm going to go through. I'll just go through real quickly. Those playground shades at Pawnee and Canyon Shadows, they're in town today, starting to put those up, so we're really excited about that. Centennial Park ball field lighting is going to be in March. They're going to do that. At Centennial Park, we've put fencing gates to enclose the entrances to the park. We've had a lot of vandalism there, and we got it done basically a week too late. The crow's nest got broken into, and the concession got broken into, so we're going to be able to close those off after the games at night, and then open them up when the facility's being used. Patrick touched on this briefly, the driving range netting project. The first phase of that is going to be completed in the near future. Sunbelt Park, a lot of exciting stuff going on there. And so I'll move on down to those slides. I didn't touch on the trail projects. Obviously the trail projects are really exciting too. The downtown trailhead, we'll be sending you an invitation for the ribbon cutting for that. It's going to be March the 4th at 10 o'clock. We're excited about that. These Jerry's guys, amongst all the other stuff they've been doing, they've been working hard on that too, which it's really turned out to be beautiful. It overlooks the city. It's going to be really a spectacular addition to our trail system. And our trail system links our uptown to our downtown, which is exciting. We're going to be rebuilding the bypass trail around the White Cliffs wagon wheels, which it's going to make it a lot more user-friendly for bikers and hikers to get up there to the top of that area. We've got several new offshoot trails that have been done, and a lot of work done by the Colorado River Trail Alliance group. I want to touch on the Pie in the Sky Trail a little bit. It's a trail that is in the works right now. It's going to be 18 to 20 miles long. It's going to go from the Wallapai Mountain Park and into downtown Kingman. And so it's real in the early stages, but it's really getting quite a bit of momentum. I mean, there's a lot of people really excited about it. We had a meeting with the county, BLM, and CRADA in our department, and I think a lot of people are really excited about it. So it's going to be a great addition to all of what we have here. And we're really getting on the map here. And I was telling you guys a little earlier, I was in Scottsdale this weekend, and I ran into a couple that are from California, and they have ridden their bikes on our trails, the Monolith Gardens, and they've heard about all the improvements we've made on White Cliffs. And so that's just a small world when you get right down to it in the trail community. So that's exciting. The ADA shared use path is in the works in the design phase, and we'll have a slide on that. But and then we're also adding some new trails. The city, we have a portion of the monolith side on the other side of 93, on the west side of 93, that's in city property. And we're putting some smaller offshoot trails there that are going to be some more connectors over there. And we're excited about that because that area gets a lot of use too. Future trail projects, Beale Loop Trail, we want to do some reroutes there, which will make that really, really good. And we're looking at a grant to get shade structures at our trailheads. So that would be really nice to have some shade structures. When people finish riding their bikes, they can sit in the shade for a minute. And also, something we've got to get done in the future, we didn't budget for it this year, but we've got to budget for it and get it done, a master plan for our trails. And what's important about that is we envision a lot of areas where we can link our city together on utility easements. But to cross state lands, you have to have a master plan done. And there's areas where we have to cross state lands to be able to link areas of our city together. So that's all something that we're going to be working on in the future. And like I said, we're excited about it all. The Lewis Kingman Park restroom project, I touched on that. We're going to try to keep the restroom looking very similar to the restrooms that we have. But they'll obviously be brand new and all. There's the location where they'll be. In the red is the existing restrooms, and they're going to be off to in the playground. Will be kind of like behind that new restroom. We're not going to take up any turf space where the new playground's going to be. It's just going to be in an area where it's basically dirt right now. So we're excited about that. It's going to be a nice area. There's the place, and this is a future project we'd like to get done. We did try to put this in the grant, but we weren't able to get it done because. We couldn't include it as part of the grant, but we'd like to put a boxcar over the wash there and link the trailhead. And it's something that we put in the capital budget, but I don't know that it's going to make it. But I still think we can maybe get this done with donations and stuff like that. Like they have one of these over in Williams, and it's really a pretty cool thing, and it gets a lot of pictures. And it would just make it nice for people to get from that parking area. And the reason we couldn't include it as part of the grant is because the dirt lot there is not listed as recreation only. It has to be a park or recreation before the state parks will include it in a grant. And anyway, there's the pictures where we have the boxcar ready, so we're set to do this if we just can get it done. Playground shade structures I touched on, they're in town starting on these, which we're really excited about that. Canyon Shadows and Pawnee Park's going to have shade structures within the next couple of weeks. So we're excited about that. And Centennial Park ball field lighting. What else is good about this is we're going to budget for to move the fences back on Field 5 at Centennial, because if there's a weakness about our ball fields, it's that our fields are kind of short for big tournaments, and this will enable us to move the fences back a little farther and have a little more distance. And it's also going to light up an area between Field 4 and Field 5, which will give us more additional space for other events at night too. So we're kind of excited about that, and that's going to be done next month. So they're going to be working on this stuff too, so that's super exciting. And this is where we put the gates on the walkways to the fourplex. And we haven't started locking them yet because we wanted to get the word out to people that we're doing this. And so there may be some people that don't like it, but with all the vandalism that we have to do something. I mean, it just continues to snowball there. So, and it's going to make it a lot better too when we have tournaments and stuff. We'll be able to close the gates, and if they want to charge people to get into the events, which they do at some softball tournaments, we'll be able to accommodate that a lot better. Also, here's another picture of that, the fourplex where the gates are. Here's the driving range net at the golf course. You see the net, the problems we're having with the netting. It's been since the golf course was built, which is in the early 90s, so the netting, they guarantee it for like 10 years, but obviously it's been long over 10 years since it's been replaced. So but it's a big project, so we're going to do it in phases. And on to the Sunbelt Park. We're really excited about this and the drainage channel that's going to go around it. We're hoping to have a 30% design by April 15th. That's our goal. We're working on a request for qualifications for a construction manager at risk. And what that is, we're going to put it out and try to find a construction company that will run the project basically. And they set the price of what they're going to do it for. And they stick to that. And so there's cost savings that they've tried to find. And that's what our hope is, that we can get a good company to work with on this. And we're just in the early stages of doing that, but we want to get it done because you want them to be part of the planning. It's very important. And the park theme, it's kind of exciting too. I think we're going to do it on transportation with Route 66, and we're transportation is big in Kingman. So here's what some of the playground apparatuses might look like. One would be a locomotive maybe, and a firehouse and a fire truck and things like that. And train depot will maybe have stuff looking like a train depot, and just, it's what's here. So we're kind of excited about this type of stuff too. And here's some more stuff that looks like a gas pump with hoses and stuff, and area for the kids to play. We're going to have a splash pad designed in it too. And the park's going to be done in phases though, because this is a huge project, and we're going to separate it out in phases and get most important stuff done first. And so obviously the splash pad may not come right away. Maybe the playground will, and the soccer fields obviously are very important to the community. So here's what some of the other stuff would look like. Route 66, maybe the roads going around, so it looks like a road. And we're also looking at some ninja stuff. That's for the older kids. We're going to have playgrounds basically that are for older kids, middle-aged kids, and younger kids. So it's 3 separate play areas that will be good for all different ages. And here's the White Cliffs Trail project that we talked about, and it's really looking even a lot better than this right now because Jerry's guys have been kicking it and doing a great job on it, and we're super excited about it. I mean, I go up there every day, and I just can't imagine. It's just so beautiful. And like I said, overlooks our downtown. We're going to put some informational kiosks up there. We want to get one where all the stores and restaurants and bars are, and have that up there and show right where they're at, and all the historic buildings, the train depot, the powerhouse, city complex. We'll have those all in a picture of the whole downtown and where they're located. So we're kind of excited about that too. We may not have those done for the ribbon cutting, but we're going to get the photo taken from a drone, so it'll be a pretty good photo, we think. And like I said, we're pretty excited about it. So here's some of the trail projects, and if you follow on Facebook, there's been a lot of really cool videos of people riding our trails and seeing them. But this is what I mentioned earlier, what's going to be done. The 19th hole, Tough Break is another one, Ghost Pepper's another, and Happy Place is another jump that they've worked on that's really awesome. I mean, to see these guys do it, it's amazing what these cyclists will do. So it's really exciting. And we've seen people there from different states and everything coming to hear it. And so the word's getting out about our trails are pretty cool. So like I said, it's pretty exciting. This is the Pie in the Sky Trail. What the vision of it is, and we're not sure exactly where it's going to come into downtown, which we've got to try to get with the property owners and try to get that handled, which is a big important thing. So it's likely going to be on the south side of the tracks, and kind of like on the east side of the railroad that goes out, or the west side of the railroad that goes out around Southside Park, if you know what I'm talking about. Up in that area is where we're thinking, there's a utility easement that we can follow in. So that's where we're thinking it's likely to come in. And what's really great about this project, though, is the majority of it is all on BLM land. So once BLM, it takes a while to get stuff through BLM, but once it gets through them, it's going to be doable, we think. So, I mean, we're pretty excited about it, really. I mean, a lot of people in the community are hiking and biking. People are pretty fired up about it. So, and like I said, a small portion of it's in the city, but obviously our city's going to benefit a lot from it, more than anybody, really. I mean, because people will be in our restaurants and our bars and just enjoying our downtown. So we're really excited about it. Like I said, and we met with BLM, CRATA, and the county to discuss it and moving forward with it. So there's just some beautiful pictures of the area out there. It's just unbelievable and we've discovered this with the White Cliffs area. There's areas of the White Cliffs area that people didn't even know were there, to where these trails go to now. And it just really is pretty impressive. Omaha Drive Shared Use Path is in the design phase, and this is it's going to be donated. Part of it's going to be donated in kind by Angle Homes. In kind work, in other words, they're willing to help pay for the asphalt and do the grading, and there's some stuff that we'll have to take back to council to get, because we want to make it an ADA path, not just pave what's there, and make it so it's very usable for the people in the community there. And really, I would hope that eventually we could get a path that goes all the way from the new hospital to Wallapai Mountain Road like this. Would be really, really spectacular. And so that's kind of what I'm saying. Those are the visions that you have to have a master plan for, to be able to cross those state lands to do it. But I think it's important that we got a good starting point right here. Once you get this, I think people will get excited about it too. So here's where we got some new trail additions that I talked about over on the west side of 93, the Monolith Trail, where we're linking and making some other, this is on city property that's over there, and we're making some other loops join in there, which is pretty exciting too. So that's a really, really beautiful area, and that's it's going to just give us more stuff right over there. And you can get there underneath the wash that goes under 93, so you can go to Beal Loop Trail, park there, and hike or bike all the way over there. So pretty exciting there. And this is what we're talking about, shade structures at the, where we're applying for a grant to put shade structures at the trailhead. And Beal Loop reroutes is something else we'd really like to do, because there's really, that's such a beautiful area out there, and it's just, the trails weren't built to be that sustainable. And with the way we're doing them now, and working with ACE, and as a matter of fact, we hired one of the ACE guys who designed our trails and built our trails. We hired him part-time, so he's working with us part-time right now, doing above and beyond stuff that we could ever get done. So we're just excited about that. And the Colorado River Trail Alliance people they have trail days and come in and work with us, and just really, really exciting this has come. And like I said, it's a community. We have a lot of great people in our community, and we're very fortunate. Any rate, that's about all I have, but it's a lot. We got a lot going on. It's really exciting stuff. And we've been meeting weekly with J2 Engineering about Sunbelt Park. So I've included Jerry, obviously, our maintenance staff, because we want to make sure that what we build is maintainable. And it's going to be a beautiful park, we think. So we're getting pretty excited about it. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, or if you need more clarification on anything, I'd be happy to.
I have something, Mike.
Go ahead, Karen.
Let's see. I've got a lot of notes here. As far as the Pie in the Sky Trail, would that be a collaboration of people to keep it maintained? Like BLM in the city?
That's a very good question. And yes, it would be. BLM would be, and obviously, what's going on right now with Colorado River Trail Alliance, they're helping us out. They've adopted our trails even, so they're obviously willing to put in the time and do it, which they have. But BLM would be responsible for their sections of the trails, and we would be responsible for our sections of the trails. But we really work very closely with them, like the Beal Loop area and Monolith area. It's co-maintained basically by BLM and the city of Kingman. So we have a really, really good relationship with them. So. But that's a good question, and that's what it would be primarily, is we would be responsible for our areas. they would be responsible for theirs, but they do overlap in some areas, so.
Okay, the concession stand break-in, it's not that time of year where they start, the leagues start up and stuff, so there wasn't much in there, or did they damage a lot of things?
They damaged a lot of things, and they break in and then into the crow's nest is where they broke in and broke the windows out up there where the scorekeepers sit, and that's where they got in, and they did quite a bit of damage in there, and like you said, it's not like there was any supplies in that to steal, but they did, I think, steal some stuff. I don't recall exactly what it was, but some of the stuff that KSA has in there, and so there's just, and as you know, Karen, you were there, this happens too often there, so it's like, we've had the steel garage doors torn off, and so,
Yeah.
it's just, what we're doing, I think, is gonna help solve that. And also, that area has become like a campsite for people even at night, and it will limit that somewhat. They're still gonna be there, but it's gonna limit it somewhat. So, anyway, I think it's gonna be a big improvement.
Okay, a question, actually, wasn't able to jump in on Jerry. It's about the new skid steer with the stump grinder. Did they have to rent in the past to grind up the stumps?
Yes, we either had to rent it or contract it out.
Okay, good. Now we have our own.
Yeah.
Crew can have fun with that. And also, is there any new applicants since we had a resignation for this commission?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there is, and I've already done my portion of it, and it will be probably going to council, not at the next meeting, I don't think, but the one after that, I think it will be going to council.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Okay, I was wondering, do you have plans? Will there be one of those drinking fountains at the new trailhead too, with the water bottle filling
Yes,
station?
there sure will.
Oh, those are so nice.
Well, and when you say that, we're even doing something above and beyond that we've budgeted for. Hopefully, if our budget passes, we're excited about this too. There's tool stations that, if you've gone hiking at other upscale trails, they have a station where you can pump the air up in your tires, and it's pretty indestructible, I would say, but never totally indestructible, but where it has a pump and has little tools so you can work on your bike, and they're connected to a cable, so you can't really steal them very easily. But we're going to try that, and we're going to try it at this trailhead because, I still think the White Cliffs Wagon Wheels trailhead, while we want to do it there too because it's such a beautiful area, but we still do have a little more, it's more secluded, I guess you'd say, and so we're trying to look at areas that are more visible, I think, and but we're anxious to put those in too, because what we're doing, basically, we're setting us apart from a lot of areas in the state, really. And a matter of fact, I don't know if I told this before, but when State Parks came up here to check out the work that we've been doing on our trails, the guy who they sent up here said how awesome our trails were because there's a lot of slick rock, which slick rock to me didn't sound that exciting, but bikers get excited about it. They love it. And he said, we don't have anything like this in Phoenix, he said. So it's pretty exciting that the word gets out when they start talking. And so we've got a lot of really, really cool areas in here. So like I said, it's pretty exciting. So.
So I just had a question talked about maybe possibly putting in shade structure there, and the pictures in there look like pretty nice for modest. I know it hasn't really been funded yet, but if that happens, could that be a space that could maybe be rented out for parties and stuff like that?
Definitely, we will do that. We do that with any of our ramadas because we think that's a great use for them, honestly. And when you get to see this area, you're going to be like, it's not only going to be a trailhead. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to walk up there for lunch and just sit and overlook our beautiful city because, I mean, it's really pretty spectacular. So, and we're excited about it. But yeah, those would be definitely rentable spaces and, family picnics and things, and it'd be just great for it. So.
And then I wondered if I might be able to share this, you'd mentioned that pie in the sky, and they wrote up this really beautiful description of it. Would it be okay if I share that with you guys?
Yes.
It's just really exciting to think about in our community. So it says, imagine a shuttle trail with well over 5,000 feet of descending over an 18 to 20-mile journey with only a few short and easy climbs through 7 different ecosystems. Imagine a trail fully designed top to bottom to be bike optimized from start to finish and doesn't use any pre-existing hiking trails, cow paths, or double tracks, and is accessed primarily by a well-maintained paved road. A trail with unmatched views overlooking Kingman and Golden Valley. A trail that starts in the Ponderosa and Aspen Tree Forest and finishes in the Mojave Desert and directly into the charming historic downtown Kingman. A trail that descends along incredible rock formations, spires, and has optional steep slabs for expert riders. A trail that would attract adventurous beginners, low-level intermediates, and families to the most advanced riders from around the world. The terrain, features, and scenery are the stuff of mountain bikers' dreams. This is the pie in the sky drop, and it will be one of the premier shuttle rides in North America. So it goes on to talk about our amazing, beautiful trail systems, but I think that this community
I agree with that totally. And you know what's funny is I've been going around, I don't have any in here, and I'll have them in my next presentation, but how weird I am. I go take pictures of anybody who's got a bike rack on the back of their car. Because you see a lot of bike racks on the back of cars these days, and that tells you they're coming here from other places. So it's just kind of exciting to see all the activity we have. So it's going to be a definitely draw. So anyway.
Can I ask, that Sunbelt Park looks really amazing, and maybe you touched on this, but like about how long does it take? Because it looks huge.
How long is it going to take to complete
Yeah,
the whole thing?
yeah,
Well,
curious.
it's going to depend on funding, obviously, and you know, we don't even have all the hard costs yet, but I mean, it could be as much as $18 million, and you know, I think we've got like $4 million budgeted right now. We put in for some more because even to have a first phase, we need more funding than 4 million, because the drainage channel itself is going to be probably $1 million, which we have to have it because there's, like I've mentioned before, more water flows across that park than flows into Monsoon Park, the big green hole. More water flows across that park than that. So we have to do the drainage channel before we can really do anything else. So it's a big, huge project, but obviously, and I think phasing it is the right way to do it. And unless we had $20 million, we could do it all at once. But you know, I think it is exciting. It's going to be really, really nice. And
It's a great location.
it's a great location. You know, it's where we need it. We have areas obviously identified in our master plan of areas we need parks. Obviously, that's ranks right up there. And there's going to be a fire station there in the future as well. So obviously, it's a very important area to our community, and it's going to be a really, really cool project. I'm happy to be part of it, really. Any other quick questions? No? Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. All right. Do we have item 5, announcements by commission members? Karen, did you have anything?
Surprisingly, no.
Okay, so I think that's it. Then we'll go ahead and adjourn.
Just real quick, I would just like to
Sorry
say,
about
and I had it in my notes, but I'm going to try to do the best I can because my computer screen checked out on me. So anyway, but I just want to thank these guys for all their hard work, every one of them. I mean, recreation, like Yvonne talked about, Christmas and all the stuff since then, they've done a great job in our programs, youth basketball and all that. It's real challenging, and they do such a great job. Jerry's guys, like the work in the trailheads and all the weed abatement that they helped with streets with was great, and they just continue to do a lot of great stuff. So, and Ty, obviously, I said earlier, well, we're happy to have him here. He's been doing a really good job and did a great job with the junior program, and Patrick, obviously, at the golf course, and Sherry is a great addition to our department too. So, and thank you to the commission. We appreciate you guys so much, more than you know, and our council, obviously, we couldn't do it without everybody. So thank you all. And I think our next meeting, I think it's May 15th, but you'll get the information. So anyway, thank you all very much.
Okay, thanks so much. So, meeting adjourned.
Actually, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Sorry, I'm new at this. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Okay, motion passes. Now we're adjourned.